It's Sunday, 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 and I'm beginning to feel like we need to have a theme song to get these things kicked off, you know, kind of like they do on Sunday Night Football. I guess they still do that, you know, the opening theme song, so that you knew, oh my gosh, you're somewhere else in the room, but Sunday Night Football's on. So hey, it's Kelly again. It's another Sunday, and this Sunday, hey Casey, this Sunday we had kind of a like a little knockdown drag out on what we were going to be talking about, because John got stuck out of town again. Hey Sheila. John got stuck out of town again, which is okay, I guess, because he's really only about 2.5 hours away, so I'm not going to be too disheartened about it. But he was already supposed to be home by now, so there will be no telephone interruptions from John. I hope not anyway. He's supposed to be working. And hey Shanna. And Dusty, hey Shirley, Dusty's downstairs snoozing. In the last 24 hours, I guess, yeah, 24 hours, Dusty has walked probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 miles. But if you'll notice, I'm not all sweaty tonight. So the good news is I'm not sweaty. The bad news is it's because my accountability buddy Karen and I did not get to walk this afternoon. Hey Teresa. Or Therese, you're going to tell me how to pronounce that. And hey, Karen. Oh, and Karen says it's working. Awesome. But anyway, so the bad news is that, or the good news is that I'm not all sweaty tonight. And hey, other Karen. The bad news is it's because accountability buddy Karen and I did not get to walk because, more good news, her daughter, son-in-law, and grandbaby are headed in from South Korea. Hey, Joyce. They're headed in from, and hey, other Karen, they're headed in from South Korea, and they'll be here on Tuesday. So she's busy getting ready. But it wasn't too bad. And hey, Christine, it wasn't too bad because here in, oh, and thank you. Mickey says you look pretty as always. Thank you. Hey, Sherry. It wasn't too bad though, because the humidity here in Knoxville today, oh, it was absolutely horrible, smothering humidity. I don't think the temperature, hey Kim, I don't think the temperature ever got over maybe the low 80s, but the humidity had to be like 105%. And thank you whoever's already doing the thumbs ups. Y'all know I love those. Hey Betty, and hey Taylor's just joining us. So, you know I have to do my housekeeping. And my housekeeping is for people who have joined us before, and for new people, and for people who are watching this later, either on Facebook or on YouTube or on the blog. And that is that this is, hey Dorothy, that is that this is a live video chat when we're doing it. So this is Sunday night, and this is July the 2nd. And it was a live, and hey Pat, it was a live video chat. Well, like if you're listening right now on Sunday night, hey, another Karen, then we're live right now. If you are listening to this not on Sunday night, July 2nd, this is no longer a live video chat. So you are watching to something that has been pre-recorded. The internet seems to be working fine. I've got everything else shut off, and since John's not here, there's nothing to use up any other data like Netflix or anything like that. So we should be good. But if for some reason I'll lose you guys, remember just to come back because I'll just pick back up where I left off, and then I'll merge the two together. But tonight we are talking about smart point surprises. So we had a little bit of a duke out battle when we were trying to decide what to talk about. I had intended for tonight to be our Sam's chat, our Sam's wholesale chat, but since John was out of town and it's too hot outside, and plus that's too long of a time to leave Dusty in the truck. So I'll leave him in there, when it's really cool outside, if I have to pop in somewhere to pick something up. But to be able to prepare for, hey Stacy, to be able to prepare for, and hey Debbie, to be able to prepare, and sorry if I don't call each one of you all out from now, because again, we got to get started, because you all know me, I can talk and talk and talk. And I can keep going until you all pass out and need to go to bed. So, to everyone who comes on after this, hello! I will see every single one of your names, and I promise I will look at all of them later when I transcribe this. That's another housekeeping item that I almost forgot, that all of this chat will be transcribed later. And thank you, Karen. I know I said I wasn't going to get distracted, but she said, I love your hair. Thank you. I was a little bit concerned about the hair, and see, y'all have already distracted me. I was a little concerned about the hair because I told the guy not to go dark, because dark is my winter color and lighter is my summer color. And I'm glad I said don't go dark, because if I hadn't said don't go dark, I'm not sure what color it would have been, maybe black or something. But anyway, so I digress and go back to what we were talking about. All of this chat just like always, will be transcribed after we're done. And I've actually pre-transcribed a lot of it. I've pre-transcribed a lot of it because I'm going to have to cheat off of it and read, because tonight is a lot of reading. Didn't get to go to Sam's like I had planned. Again, too hot and too long of a time to leave Dusty in the truck. I'll leave him in there if it's super cool outside. Thanks. Thank you. And hey, Angie, how are you? And hey, Taylor, hey. So I'm assuming Taylor's downtown somewhere watching this live chat, even though she doesn't live downtown. She is down here more than I am. But anyway, so yeah, couldn't take Dusty to Sam's. So Sam's kind of frowns on, you know, bringing dogs in. I guess I'm just going to have to get him certified as and he's down there, in case y'all can hear him. I know Casey can she can hear him from a mile away. Hey girl, hey, Angie. But anyway, so I'm going to have to get him certified as a comfort dog or something so that, so I can take him in places like Sam's. Just kidding, sort of kidding, not kidding. But anyway, so didn't get to go to Sam's. So we were duking it out here and on in our other Facebook group. We were duking it out about what topic to have. And so the choices came down to, first of all, you all have given me some amazing topics to do, to come, you know, to talk about for the rest of this year. We probably literally have enough ideas to go through the end of the year. Keep them coming. You know, you can put them here if you've got ideas, you know, for a future chat. You can put them on here. And I know Angie, probably as I'm speaking, is typing pressure cookers, because that's, I knew it. Okay, y'all can't see it, but I knew it. I knew she was typing that anyway, and I'm not psychic. I just knew it. Anyway, so what it came, so do keep sending me your ideas. I promise I write them all down. I do, I really do. And y'all know how I love to make my little doodollies. I like to make my little notes, you know, on things. So, but anyway, so what it came down to tonight was either Smart Point Surprises or the nutritional yeast again. So I promise we will talk about nutritional yeast again, but Smart Point Surprises went out tonight. So that's what we're talking about. And Angie is an island of one voting for pressure cookers. So I don't own one. Hey Diane. So I don't own a pressure cooker, but if Angie has any little groupies in here, you know, y'all might want to help her by voting for pressure cookers, because right now Angie has one vote for pressure cookers. That's it. Nobody else has asked about pressure cookers. So anyway, if anybody out there knows Angie, or you support her, or you just want to know about pressure cookers, I'm really not feeling a sense of urgency on that since there's one vote. But you know, I would look into it if more than one, you know, person wanted to know about it. So tonight, again, sit back and relax. You don't need to take any notes unless you just want to. And I'm not going to let Angie distract me anymore. But anyway, so you can sit back and relax, and I've done all the note taking for you. So everything is transcribed. Again, I got a little ahead of myself right now, or tonight, because I needed these notes to make sure that I stayed on track, because it's all talking tonight. There's no showing. I have no food up here to show you all, which means I have no food already prepped for next week. So we're going to have to make sure that next week's chat involves some food, or I'm going to be starving to death all week. So I've already pre-transcribed everything. It should go pretty quick. Oh, and that's sweet. Karen, one of the Karens says this hour is her time to relax and listen. And it is, yes, it is. It is everyone's time to relax and listen. We actually have somebody on here that I think, if I'm not mistaken, she walks on the treadmill at her gym and listens to us, you know, while she's doing that. And it's an awesome way to spend an hour. But anyway, so do keep sending me ideas for future chats. Tonight's chat is going to be about Smart Point Surprises. So I'm going to jump right in. Oh gosh, you all do successfully transcribe me every time, or not transcribe, distract me every time. So transcriptions will be up, should be up pretty quick tonight, since I've already typed everything. And looks like Angie's getting some votes on the pressure cooker. But now we've got a little crock pot battle going on in the background. But seriously, y'all keep it up. Keep it up. So right now, and again with the distractions, if you want to vote for Angie's Gosh, I hate to do this because this means I'm going to end up buying one. But anyway, if y'all want to vote for Angie's pressure cooker idea, let's do some thumbs ups. If you would rather have crock pot ideas, do some hearts. So pressure cookers, thumbs up. Crock pots, hearts, both. You could do a thumbs up and a heart. So let's get some voting going. Next week though still will probably really be Sam's. I'm trying really, really hard for Sam's. So a lot of y'all are voting. So you all keep voting while I keep talking. All the transcriptions will be on here. Everything's on Facebook, the Facebook page, the closed Facebook group. These are always on YouTube later. Oh, and Angie, I hate to tell you, but the crock pots are winning right now. Crock pots are winning. Anyway, so y'all distracted me. Good Lord. Okay, that didn't take long at all. Anyway, we are only 11 minutes in and y'all have already successfully distracted me. That's why I typed all the transcripts ahead of time so that I would not be distracted. Anywho, so here, this is on Facebook right now, the closed Facebook group, YouTube search If You Have an Egg. The blog, www.ifyouhaveanegg.com, and hopefully Casey's there and can top that for us. But anyway, so all the transcripts will be on there later. I promise I will go back and look at all of your comments later, but let's get started. So we are 11 minutes in somehow already. Ooh, but I do love that you all talk to each other, and I do love that you talk to me. And you'll see that when we get down to surprise number 10. So surprise number 1. The first surprise that I had, and thank you, Casey, the first surprise that I had when we switched to Smart Points. Okay, well, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Let me ask you first, how many of you loved when we switched to Smart Points? I'm talking about the very first day. I'm not talking about now. And thank you, Taylor. Loved Smart Points, and how many of you hated Smart Points that first week? So do not do any frowny faces. Please, please, please do not do any frowny faces, because frowny faces actually count against me. And I don't know who's keeping track of all these scores, but frowny faces count against me. So please just comment. Comment if you were on the Smart Points bus when we first switched over to it. Please just comment you were on the bus. If you were off the bus. So we've already got a hated SP. Okay, that was me. Look, we've got a couple. So day 1, I was mad. I didn't want to switch to it. I didn't want to move to Smart Points. I wanted to stick to Points Plus. And I think part of the reason that I didn't want to change to it, in the beginning, oh, and Sally says she stalked when they switched. Okay, so hopefully, when I get done, anybody who didn't like it in the beginning, or who still doesn't like it, or that stopped, sadly, because of it, hopefully you're going to be back on board. I was off the bus bad. They had to drag me kicking and screaming into it. I didn't want to go to the meeting the first week. I went just because I love my leader. I was super, super mad. And I'm not going to lie, and I hope she never watches this, but then when Oprah got involved, I thought, well, here we go. My beloved Weight Watchers has just, poof, just gone away. It's going to be like every other diet plan. They're just going to be pushing their own products, and I'm not going to get to eat what I want to eat, and I was just mad. So I reluctantly went, kicking and screaming. So, yeah, and Mickey's exactly right. The Weight Watchers math is crazy. So, surprise number 1. This was, believe it or not, this was the first question I asked my leader that night. I said, okay, so what's going to happen with avocados? And I know that sounds like a stupid thing to bring up first day, but I had always been really disappointed that things like avocados and beans, things that I consider to be very healthy for you and have very, good kinds of fats and, a lot of fiber, and things like that, I was surprised that avocados, were so many points when we were back on Points Plus. So my first question for my leader when we were getting ready to switch, because she was working really hard to make sure that we were all on board with switching, that we were all on board with that. So my first question was, okay, what about avocados? And I thought I was the only person that was upset that avocados were so many points. And she didn't tell me that they wouldn't be less points, but she didn't tell me that they would. I don't know, just I don't know, it was kind of weird. So surprise number one, avocados aren't free. And so some of these surprises are good and some of them are bad. Just going to go ahead and say, and I know avocados seems like a silly thing to start this off with, but the very first surprise for me on Smart Points was that avocados weren't free. And there's not much else I can say about that other than, come on, Oprah. Come on. I know you got a lot of pull with Weight Watchers. Surely to goodness you can go to bat for us on one thing, avocados. Although it looks like several of you may need Oprah to go to bat for you on red wine. Also another thing that's good for you. But let's not get wound up on avocados. I've moved on. So, but that was a surprise for me that those were not free, or at least less points. Very surprised. So, next surprise, BLTs. Those were bites, licks, and tastes. I don't know how many of you remember on the Points Plus program when we had, if you attend a meeting, we had 1 week where one of the topics was BLTs, which got me super excited when I saw the front of the book because I love me a good BLT. So I'm thinking that we're going to talk about, bacon, lettuce, and tomatoes, okay, but, I'll eat it if it's got bacon. I'll eat anything if it has bacon on it. So the week that we talked about BLTs, when we were on Points Plus, we were talking about, taking a bite of your husband's dessert, licking your child's dripping ice cream cone, things like that, and how we were going to count them. So now that we're on Smart Points, BLTs go beyond bites, licks, and tastes. If it goes in your mouth, you need to put it in your journal. The way the Smart Points are calculated, more things that we would have just gone, about before count as points. We're going to talk about how they're calculated here, a little bit later in the chat, but if you're putting it in your mouth, you need to calculate the Smart Points and you need to write it down. Because the way they're done now, they're spread out a little bit, more over your day instead of so many being chunked into the week. So where I used to be really frivolous with my weeklies, I used to just say, oh, yeah, no problem, I've got plenty of weeklies for that. Since they're spread out a little bit more, if you put it in your mouth, you need to write it down. Here are a couple of surprises that I had when I first really embraced Smart Points. The first one was cough syrup. So if you're sick, you need to take cough syrup, right? If you're sick and you have a bad cough, you need to take. I like that. Angel says if it's in the smacker, in your tracker. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But like cough syrup. Okay, who thinks about, tracking cough syrup, but did you know that 2 teaspoons of cough syrup is 1 Smart Point? That's 1 Smart Point, whether you write it down or not. So even if you don't write it down, if you take the cough syrup, which you need if you're sick, but if you take the cough syrup and you don't recognize the fact that you're taking the cough syrup, it has points because it's got a sugar base to it, and you don't write it down, then your body still counts it as points. So even if you don't write it down, and Angel, yeah, we're getting to cough drops in just a second, but so 2 teaspoons of cough syrup is 1 Smart Point, even if you don't write it down. If you take it twice a day, and you're sick for 7 to 10 days, you just used up 14 to 20 weeklies. Well, I don't know about you, but that's most of my weeklies. So just gave me a whole new perspective on that, and whether I want to take, and I'm not trying to tell you what to do when you're sick. I'm just saying, be aware. Be aware. It is more important to me now that I make sure that I know what the value is of everything that I'm putting in my mouth. Cough drops. Somebody mentioned cough drops just a second ago. I think it was Angel. 1 regular cough drop is also 1 Smart Point. And it is no wonder that by the end of the day, when you're sick, you already feel bad, but it's no wonder that your mouth tastes like, or your teeth, taste like they have socks on them, socks or sweaters on them at the end of the day. If every time you use a regular cough drop, that's not a sugar-free cough drop, but every time you use a regular one, if it's 1 point, if you have to use one every 4 hours and you're sick 7 to 10 days, that's by the time you're done being sick, that's 28 to 40 weeklies that you just used. That's craziness. That's way too much. That's way too much. This one, and somebody just mentioned it just a second ago, but gummy vitamins, we had somebody in one of our groups ask me if they should count their gummy vitamins. And I said, well, yeah, if it's got calories and if it has calorie calories, protein, carbohydrates, sugar, you know, all the stuff that we count on that, if it has, you know, if it has that in there, you know, you've got to count it. So can I see the nutritional information? Well, holy cow, her dosage of gummy vitamins. Okay, first of all, we're all adults here, right? So I'm not sure why any of us are taking gummy vitamins unless you just literally have a real issue swallowing vitamins. And Angel's right, I didn't put emergency on this one, but emergency has points too. But anyway, her gummy vitamins, she was taking them twice a day. She took one in the morning and one at night, and that was 3 smart points. Okay, I need everybody to sit down here for just a second. So I think vitamins are important. Even if you have a healthy diet and you're eating all of your fruits and veggies, you know, and things like that, you know, and your lean proteins, I think vitamins can be a great supplement. Okay, and Casey has just said she takes gummy prenatal vitamins. They didn't make her sick like the chalk pills. Okay, Casey, you get a pass because you're preggers. Okay, so the rest of us, I'm assuming, are not preggers, so we need to be taking big girl vitamins or finding some other way to take them. But you get a pass for now, just for now. But anyway, so if y'all are sitting down, so the question she had was, do I need to count my gummy vitamins? And I said, yeah, they've got points. And she said, well, I don't ever use any of my weeklies, so it's not a big deal. Okay, after we did some quick math, now she thinks it's a big deal. And I'm so sorry, I wish I could remember who asked me that. I can't remember, but anyway, if you're here, I'm so glad you asked that question because it really made me stop and think about this. So her gummy vitamins, she takes them twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. And that's 3 smart points a day. If she takes them daily for a month, that's 90 smart points in a month. 90 to 93, depending on how many days you're in the month. If she takes them for a year, if she had been taking these for a year, now remember, she legitimately did not think this was a big deal. It's my thumb's over here. Vitamins. Vitamins are a good supplement. So, you know, she's thinking, I rarely touch my weeklies, you know, so it's probably not a big deal. But are you all sitting down? Okay. So 3 points a day. She takes them daily for a month. That's 90 points for a year. So Casey, you're getting ready to spend this many points. Not quite, because hopefully you're not going to be pregnant for 12 months. But for a year, if she had been taking them for a year, and I need everybody to be sitting down, go ahead and take a deep breath, that's 1,095 smart points. 1,000. I don't even know what to say. 1,095 smart points. It's time to change vitamins. Just saying, girls. Okay, that was a big surprise for me. Okay. Hey, Joel, Angie's husband Joel is watching. Hello, Joel. And guess what? My name's not Barbie. But anyway, and your wife, Joel, just so you know, your wife said that you all were going to have a fundraiser for me, and you're going to buy me a pressure cooker and ship it to me. So Joel, just wanted to let you know that. Just want to let you know that what she's talked you into. I'm just kidding. She hasn't. Don't be mad. She hasn't done that. Okay, surprise number 3. How many and if anybody is a medical professional here and knows the answer to the question, don't cheat and tell everybody, but do you have any idea how many pounds of water that your body can hold on any extra pounds of water? How many pounds of water extra your body can hold on any given day? So I'm going to pause and let a couple of y'all answer that. So that is if you're not having any medical issues, if you don't have any, strange things going on, if you are having real medical issues, I mean, if you have something else going on that's causing you to retain water, that's not what I'm talking about. Casey's answer is a whole lot. Thanks, Casey. That's, like so insightful. But, anyway, I'm talking no other medical issues, that are causing you to retain water. This is just regular water on any given day, how much your body can retain. So the reason that this one is a surprise for me is because over the last few years, I have watched my parents go through, some significant medical issues. My father has kidney disease, and he's had to thank goodness, had a kidney transplant last year. My mother got an infection in her legs, and she, because she's diabetic, Angie said a pressure cooker full. Yep. She actually started suffering from edema, which was extra fluid, and the extra fluid actually started weeping. I mean, she was holding so much that it was weeping out of her arms and legs, which exaggerated the infection, or like, sent it into overdrive. So I'm not talking about situations like that, but just know that edema can happen if you're holding too much water, if you're holding on to too much water for, normally, again, not for severe medical reasons. I'm talking about from not drinking enough water and your body thinks it's going to get dehydrated, so it starts holding on to it. I'm talking about a lot of sodium, a lot of processed foods, things like that. So have you ever been, like gone out for a walk, and like today, it's a little humid. So when I came back in, my fingers are swollen. Dusty and I didn't walk far this afternoon because it was hot. But when I came back in, my rings, they're like, see how tight they are? My rings aren't tight on my finger. Normally, my rings are spinning around my finger. This is a minor amount of edema, so I've got a little bit of water in my extremities right now. A, because it's hot outside, B, because I did not have enough to drink today. But okay, so the answer is anywhere from, so normal is 5 pounds. 5 pounds in one day. So your body can, I'm sure, and some of y'all are saying 8 to 10. Yes, over a period of time, if you had, if you were eating processed foods every day, or high sodium foods every day, or, some of these other things, then yes, from week to week, your body probably could hold that much, but just in one day, your body can hold up to 5 extra pounds of water, and that's with no other, medical issues going on. 5 pounds, that's crazy. So, one of the reasons that, people think, oh my gosh, I've gained, they go to weigh, and think, oh my gosh, I've gained 3 pounds this week, or 4 pounds, or 5 pounds this week. Okay, you probably did not gain 3, 4, 5 pounds in 1 week. Your body is constantly fluctuating, and water weight can make it fluctuate 5 pounds. I mean, that's crazy. So I don't want anybody going and getting depressed, at the scale. That's another reason this is called Smart Points Beyond the Scale, because we've got to stop worrying about the scale. And trust me, that was hard for me too, because I was weighing, when I was doing Points Plus, I was weighing myself every single day, every day. And I just made the table shake. But anyway, so if I fluctuated, from day to day, I was getting really upset with myself. Well, now, even when I fluctuate that much week to week, I do not get upset. I look at mine over the long haul. So here are some things that you can do to help make sure that you're not holding on to that full 5 pounds, of water weight. And again, if it's humid and you see, any puffiness, like if you've got swelling, if you're wearing elastic socks and you've got a ridge around your leg when you take them off, then you're carrying a little bit extra water. When my Fitbit starts to get tight, I know I'm carrying some extra water, and I'm glad you all are chatting with each other and giving each other some ideas in the background. Love this. So I'm giving you all of you all that are helping each other right now, that's a thumbs up for all of you all. Thank you, and I heart you. But ways to get rid of some of that extra water: more water. Drinking more water. If you're getting dehydrated, your body will start to hoard the water. It'll cling on to it as self-defense, because it thinks that it's getting dehydrated, and it'll hold on to it, and it'll put the, hold on to the water, for dear life, it thinks, because it thinks you're not going to get any more water. Your body doesn't know, oh, I just got carried away this morning and didn't get any water in, but I'm going to get some in an hour. It doesn't know that, or in a day, or in a week, or whatever. So it starts, holding on to it. So drink more water. I know that sounds like it wouldn't make any sense, because you would think, well, then I'll have more water weight. But it doesn't. So if you drink real water, and it can have a lemon in it, or a lime in it, or something like that, not a lot of the juice, or then you start counting points. And I'm not talking about diet sodas, and I know some of y'all don't like water, and we'll talk about that a whole nother time. But it can quickly remedy the levels between your salt, your water. And again, I'm not a doctor, so don't go tell your doctor, well, Kelly said. I'm just telling you from personal experience. That it can quickly, remedy that salt to water ratio that's inside of your body, and it can flush the extra weight away. Okay, this is not fat. It's not flushing out fat, and it's not flushing out real weight. It's flushing out water. But if you've never done that before, it's shocking, when it happens. I know a lot of people that don't drink water the day of weigh-in. I don't recommend that. I don't drink water right before weigh-in, and there are some guys on here, so I'm not going to tell you. Well, I mean, we're all human, but I'm not going to tell you what to do right before weigh-in. But don't hold off on the water. Drink it, because if you don't flush all that out before you go weigh in, it's just going to hold on to it, and you could actually affect your weigh-in by not drinking water in a way that you don't want to. Exercising can shed the extra water, but it also reduces inflammation, and inflammation sometimes is just water. It's just extra water. If you eat more healthy fruits and vegetables, make sure you get enough fiber. So when I was talking about fat flush a second ago, we're talking about flushing out fat. There is this thing going around on the internet called fat flush, and people are talking about holding on to extra weight. Like if they've had like if their weight loss is sluggish, they're all talking about being little turtles, and holding on to it for so long. But if you've or like if you've hit a plateau or whatever, if you will bulk up your healthy fruits and veggies and the fiber and the water on top of that, even though it's not really flushing fat, it's not flushing fat out, but what it does flush out, yeah, you can lose quite a bit of weight, and it's water weight, but that's okay, because 2 weeks ago when you went up 2 pounds on the scale, even though that wasn't real weight, it was water weight, then when you flush it out, it still counts as 2 pounds off because it was the same 2 pounds. Okay, so as usual, we are at 8:30 and I'm on number 3. But anyway, so that was a surprise for me, how much water you could hold. Surprise number 4 for me, you can't out exercise what you eat, and I used to try and do that when we were on Points Plus. So again, because of the way they were calculated, and it was a completely different point system. I used to try to eat, let's say, like a Krispy Kreme and then walk an extra mile, because a Krispy Kreme was only, I think it was 3 or 4 points. Well, guess what? A Krispy Kreme is not really 3 or 4 points. So, yeah, so I was trying to outwalk it, and you can't outwalk unless you just go crazy, and that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different issue if you're exercising that much. But us normal humans, us normal girls who don't have, 8, 9, 10 hours a day to exercise, and you shouldn't do that anyway. Let me just say that. But normal girls, we're not going to be able to out-exercise what we eat. Okay, so this sounds depressing, but hold on for just a second. Okay, a commercially made smoothie, and there are 3 commercial smoothie places, let's say, and I didn't want them to hate me, so I'm not going to say their names out loud, but y'all know what I'm talking about. No need to type them. Casey knows exactly what I'm talking about. But a commercially made smoothie from any of those places, an average size, like a 20-ounce size, is about 15 to 20 smart points. So based on my old theory of exercising off, that, and I would have thought a smoothie, I would be like, oh, yeah, on Points Plus, a smoothie, that's great for me, that's good for you. Okay, at my current weight, because fit points are a whole other subject, but fit points are calculated based on your age, your current weight, and the activity level. Hey, Mary! And the activity level. So based on my weight, my age, and my activity level, so when I walk at a moderate to pace where I can talk, but it's a little bit labored. So at my rate, it would take me 180 minutes to walk off that smoothie. 180 minutes. So yeah. I'm not going to be walking off that smoothie, but that also means I'm not going to be drinking that smoothie. But good news, surprise, walking just 10 minutes at a time, 3 times a day, can reduce your blood pressure. It can alleviate the edema that we were talking about just a second ago. It can help to alleviate and reduce signs of depression, even mild depression, and even people like me who don't think they're depressed. If you're upset about something, mad about something, frustrated about something, whatever, I promise you, a 10-minute walk Number one is going to save, might save the life of the person that you just got irritated at. It's going to give you a chance to, breathe, walk away, whatever. And that's 3 times a day that you're not sitting around eating. So if I get mad at somebody at work, or if I get frustrated with a customer, and I hope none of our customers are watching, but if I get frustrated with a customer, I have a choice of either hitting the second drawer in our filing cabinet, which has oatmeal cream pies in it, or if I go walk from my office out the door, all the way through the warehouse, around the side of the building and back up, that's about 5 minutes. A, I got some exercise. B, I didn't hurt the person that I just got upset with. C, it gave me time to stop and think, okay, did I really need to be that mad? Did I really need to be that upset with them? Or was this just, silly? C, if they're really, really bad, it gives me a few minutes alone with the Lord to pray for them. Because let's face it, if they were having that bad of a day, that they made me upset, then they probably need some prayers. Okay. So, so just 3 times a day. I'm not talking go bust out, for an hour and walk. The 3 times a day, it'll get your metabolism going 3 different times during the day. 10 minutes, 3 times a day. If you have a Fitbit, you can set it so that it reminds you to walk, to get up and, walk around, at different intervals of the day. You can set an alarm at work. Shanna says that her and her accountability buddy walk twice a day at work for 10 or 15 minutes. Gives you somebody to chit chat with. It does alleviate a lot. It alleviates a lot. And it's some good quiet time. So those of you that are watching this chat that are on board with me there, gives you some great quiet time. So, and you're not eating at all. So, okay. And on the transcriptions, I included a link to what appears to be an amazing British article about what some walking will do for you. And it was really cute. So I included a link on that. Okay. Surprise number 5. Smart points aren't calculated like points plus. Duh. Oh, Angie wants to know what my Fitbit username is. I'll post that later. Because it's another weird one. But anyway, so surprise number 5. Smart points aren't calculated like points plus. Duh. Yeah. So again, I fought it at first. I fought it hard. All of my favorites, the things that I thought were my favorites, had doubled, and some of them had tripled in points. I was mad. Really mad. Okay, but surprise! Smart points are designed to help you bulk up on healthy, low-fat proteins, fiber-rich foods, fruits and veggies. And I realized after a couple of weeks, when I finally gave in, to all this, I realized it was all real food that I had started to ignore. So, yeah, so smart points, I think, were designed. I really started to realize, and now I truly believe that smart points were designed to get a lot of us who had kind of gotten away from eating real food, to get us back on board, with that. So. Still, avocados are still too high. Am I bitter? Yeah. Am I trying to learn how to get over it? Yes. But when you see how much food I eat every day, you're going to get over it too. So, yeah. So that one shouldn't have been a surprise, but it was a big surprise for me. So, surprise number 6. I was using processed snack foods as a crutch, and I know a lot of you all were too, and I know a lot of people that were like me, and you were not on board with the new plan, that we had all started using them as that. And when I went back and reviewed what I was eating, I realized how much of a crutch that it was. So it's no wonder that I lost so well, but then got bored again. Because I wasn't eating much real food, and I wasn't eating a big quantity of food. It was all more snacky stuff. So on the transcripts, I show you all how I replaced my old points plus day with 30 fill me up real food smart points. And to quickly run over them here, like for breakfast on points plus, I used to have cereal and skim milk every day. It's not a problem to have cereal and skim milk every day, but then I was hungry again by about 9:30. So that was a problem. So what I traded it for on Smart Points, so a lot of mornings before I go to work, I'll do secret recipe scrambled eggs because they're fast, bacon in the air fryer, and fruit, or a Wego and fruit. And that is a ton more food, and the protein really fills me up. My mid-morning snack, it used to be, when I was on Points Plus, it used to be a Fiber One bar because they were only 2 points, and because they kind of tasted like candy, like weirdly flavored candy. But anyway, but they were, you know, I don't know, just more of a snack food. But now, instead, what I traded for in Smart Points is fat-free Greek yogurt, strawberries, blueberries, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of my favorite granola. And so I went from, I don't know if y'all remember them or not, because I don't eat them at all anymore, but Fiber One bars are about that big. If you watch a couple of my other chats, you can see how big or if you look on Pinterest, and again, a lot of my meal ideas are on Pinterest. It's www.pinterest.com/IfYouHaveAnEgg if you want to look at those, and you can use those to make your index cards. Remember these from last week? So yeah, make some index cards. But yeah, so that's a much more filling, much more protein mid-morning snack, because again, so the breakfast and the mid-morning snack on Points Plus, yes, they were yummy, but I'm starving to death by lunchtime. So lunch on Points Plus, I was eating a salad almost every day. A salad, you know, typical diet food, a salad. Now, a lot of days, what I trade for in Smart Points, 2 light string cheeses, 2 ounces of ham, and I roll them up together, cucumber slices with some hummus, and Trader Joe's savory thin edamame chips. That's a big old plate of stuff. And if you need to see that, you can look on our Easy Lunches snack or on Pinterest, because I have that on there. But I mean, that's way more exciting than a salad, way more. For dinner, a lot of nights I was eating like a Marie Callender's chicken pot pie, just because it was easy and I was lazy, and they weren't too many points. They were like 12 to 14 points for one of those. But now instead, and it really doesn't take me much longer to make it. Now instead, when I traded for Smart Points, I have one of my favorites, and my husband's favorite. He would eat it every single day. Oh my gosh, can y'all see that? My husband's back in his hotel room and he's watching us live. How did you even figure out how to get on here? Hey John, I love you. So everybody else, that kiss was not for you, that's for John. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he's on here. Everybody say hi to John. So actually that makes me a little verklempt that he's watching it. But anyway, okay, I'll try not to be distracted. So John, do you agree with me? Instead of having Marie Callender's chicken pot pies every night, okay, and Casey says, I definitely didn't help him. Casey, that was very sweet. I love you too. But one of his favorites, and you can chime in here, John, if you want to, is that minced chicken, and we cook it in the air fryer, bacon wrapped asparagus, and my recipe, candy corn. So those are that is yummy, 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 yummy. And it honestly does not take that long. It just doesn't take that long. And it's a much, much better meal, much more satisfying meal than my slack, you know, chicken pot pie. And then on Points Plus, I do eat a snack almost every single night before I go to bed. The only time I don't eat a snack before I go to bed is if I fall asleep first. So yeah, I eat a snack every night before I go to bed. So my old Points Plus snack was 3 cups of Skinny Pop. Smart Points, still Skinny Pop. Yeah, Skinny Pop did not go up in points. Oh yeah, and John likes the bacon wrapped Brussels sprouts as well. They're also really good. Thanks for chiming in there, John. So yeah, so all the rest of y'all just lost my attention. If John talks, I'm answering him. All the rest of y'all, you'll just have to wait till later. But anyway, so Skinny Pop, and a lot of times a hot cup of tea. So that makes for a really good snack right before you go to bed. Okay, surprise number 7. You don't have to spend a lot of time or have mad cooking skills to make Smart Points work. I did not realize it, but for the 20 years that I was on every Weight Watchers version that you can imagine, I mean, I think the first time I joined Weight Watchers, I think we were doing Fit and Fiber, if I'm not mistaken. Does anybody remember Fit and Fiber? Then I do not remember what the one after that was called. Then the one after that was just called Points, just Points, and now we call it Regular Points. I mean, like those of us that have been doing this a long time, or at least people around here, when we're talking about that one, we just call it Regular Points, because then we went to Points Plus, And then, okay, and John, if you're watching, the Angie that I keep telling you about is on here, the one that calls me Barbie, and she's asking you to ask me if I'll do a pressure cooker chat next week. Anyway, okay, so then we did points plus, and now we do smart points. So what I didn't realize is that when we were doing all the rest of those, fit and fiber, points, or whatever the one was in between, points, and points plus, that I had become almost completely dependent on pre-prepared meals, frozen dinners. I didn't cook, and I was spending way more than an hour at the store every week, because I had to go through and back then we couldn't scan things, but I was spending way more than an hour at the store every week, looking through every lean cuisine, looking through every smart one, looking through every, and those little teeny tiny Michelina's dinners, if anybody's had any of those, now I think, why did I waste all that time? Why, back then seemed like a great idea. And when we first switched to Smart Points, I was thinking, I wanted to be able just to grab a Michelina off the shelf, and microwave it. Why is it so many points now? But now I think back, surprise, I think back, that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. I was spending a ton of money. I was eating stuff out of a cardboard box, and I thought I was happy. So I would spend over an hour trying to figure out what I was going to subject myself to the next week for work. And half the time I'd get them to work, or I'd get them home, and I'd have them in the freezer, and they would sit there and sit there and sit there and sit there and sit there because I didn't want it, and I didn't know why I didn't want it, because we didn't have Smart Points yet to tell me why I didn't want it. And Debbie's exactly right. Bulk up your food with freebies. If you have to eat there's nothing wrong with eating frozen meals, but if you have to, now I know I don't just eat the meal out of a box. I make it, I'll cook it, put it on a real plate. Remember a couple of weeks ago on the chat, and if you need to go back and see any of the chats, you can go to www.IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, and there's actually a category called, I think it's called videos or Facebook live chats, I don't remember. But anyway, if you go to that one, we talked about real plates and eating like humans, not just sitting there eating out of a box. So, but anyway, add something to it. Add a can of peas, or add some frozen broccoli or something, to it if you do that. So there's nothing wrong with that. But now I know better. So what I do now, okay, so people say, gosh, how much time do you spend, getting ready for Smart Points? Well, here are a couple of surprises. Remember I said you didn't have to be able to cook. You didn't have to be able to cook, and you don't have to spend a lot of time on it. So surprise, it may come as a shock to you all, but those of you who have known me for a long time know I can't boil an egg. So yeah, don't bother trying to teach me how. The steaming method is the only one that even came close to working, but I've done them all. I've done every single thing. I can successfully peel a hard-boiled egg that someone else has done, but I can't hard-boil an egg. So you know what? I buy them already boiled. Saves me time. If I'm not prepping for a chat, I only spend 30 to 45 minutes at the grocery store. That's all it takes me now. And the reason that's all it takes me now is because I use the index cards. Remember these? So remember the index cards that we talked about last week? I use my index cards, or Pinterest, or my If You Have an Egg app. And thank you, Dorothy, for putting that up there. Or I use my If You Have an Egg app if I'm out, as my grocery list, and that saves me a ton of time, And now that we've got Smart Points, then I have a much, believe it or not, my food selections are much more broad than the limited number of things that I was having on Points Plus. So it's less time at the store, much bigger selection. Still can't hard-boil an egg, but I also save time by making most of the things that I'm making on Smart Points. I can make them in my waffle iron, like the Weggos, some of the Kodiak cakes, waffles. The Weggos are my favorite though. And we make grilled cheese sandwiches in there now, Smart Point friendly grilled cheese sandwiches. I make a lot of things in the microwave. I make my egg mugs in the microwave. Of course, my beloved air fryer. I make a lot of things in the air fryer, and that does save a lot of time. It saves a lot of time. I'm just waiting to find out, though, if there's some kind of life limit on how many days in a row that you can use the air fryer without it blowing up, because I literally probably use it and then have to wash it every single day. And another cheater, and I'll show you all another time, when I make my grits, you know, my cheese grits that I talk about, and when I make mashed potatoes, I make them with my Keurig. So yeah, I'll have to show y'all how to do that sometime. But talk about saving time. You know, in the morning, if I'm gonna have cheese grits, I use the Keurig, make a cup of coffee. While I'm drinking the cup of coffee, I use the Keurig and I make some cheese grits. Bada bing, bada boom. Don't have to, you know, think much about it. So anyway, so I do save time on that. If you need, or if I'm already gonna be heating up the oven, especially in the summertime. In the wintertime, not such a big deal because it's, you know, cold anyway. Although now that we live in a loft, the people below us they must jack their heat up because they keep our loft warm, toasty all winter. But during the summer, like now, if I'm going to be turning on the oven, I go ahead and bake ahead so that I can freeze part of it, and again, saves time. And if you need ideas for some simple things to make, you can go to my blog, www.ifyouhaveanegg.com, or like we talked about last week on the chat about the index cards, you can go to my Pinterest. It's www.pinterest.com/ifyouhaveanegg. That's all run together. And all of my meal ideas are divided out by points, by smart points. And so you can either make yourself some of the index cards like we talked about last week. You can make yourself some of those, you know, for some easy ideas, or, you know, however you need to record it. And then if you need it on the go, you can always use the If You Have an Egg app, and then you can take it with you because you can pull it up on your smartphone. Okay, surprise number 8. Your friends and family are not going to die. So Casey, you're here. John, if you're still here. I don't know if Alan's on here or not, but tell everybody, since I've been doing smart points, have you all died? Or have you felt like you were going to die? Or have you at any moment felt that your life was at risk because I was making smart points friendly things for you to eat? So feel free to answer that real quick while I get a sip. Y'all know when we talk for an hour, I get parched, so hold on. So, Windstar Karen too. You know which Karen you are. Scrapbooking Karen, Windstar Karen. Has Brett felt like he was going to die since you've been doing smart points? So, again, they're not going. Casey says, I have not died yet. Yeah, see if I make you any more bacon wrapped asparagus, Missy. But anyway, so you can use yummy recipes. Again, you don't have to be able to cook well, and if you do cook well, great, awesome, great for you. But you can use yummy recipes from places like, oh, and Casey says the baby Bohannon seems to like Smart Points foods. So that's awesome. And Kim says her husband keeps asking her if she's sure that they can have these Smart Points meals. That right there is proof. That is proof in the pudding. So you can get great ideas. Okay, yeah, and Karen says, nope, she doesn't even think Brett realizes what's happening. So, and if he knows, she just keeps cooking and he eats it. So yeah, they're not gonna die. Oh, and John made a very good point. Thank you for chiming in, John. He said, well, it is real food. Seriously, it's real food. And what was it we came up with a couple of weeks ago? It's real food for real people. I don't remember. Somebody remind me what we coined earlier, the thing that we were trying to keep Oprah from using. But anyway, John's exactly right. It is real food. It's no more food out of a box. It's not to say that we don't eat things out of a box anymore, but it's just the way we treat it differently. Okay, we have 7 minutes, so I'm going to keep going. So the friends and family won't die thing. If you use yummy recipes, easy, super easy to follow recipes with things on, with things that you can get at any store, and they're made out of real food. That's it. Thanks, Joyce. Real plan with real food for real people. And that's exactly right. We're eating real food now. Gone are the days that I'm upset about switching from Points Plus. I'm eating real food now. So anyway, that surprise was that your friends and family won't die. So you can use the yummy recipes from IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, from Drizzle Me Skinny. And if y'all don't know about Drizzle Me Skinny, she has a wonderful website of such easy things to make. I mean, literally anybody can make these things. And it's drizzlemeskinny.com. She also has an app that's just Drizzle Me Skinny. It's available on for Apple and Android products. So she has great recipes. My accountability buddy Karen and I love recipes out of the Skinny Taste cookbook. Emily Bites is another great resource, but the surprise is, okay, and then there's a multitude of other resources like Pinterest, groups like this, people, you know, just sharing ideas with each other, and they've got lots of civilian type recipes, you know, recipes that the civilians won't, they won't know. They won't know that they're eating, you know, Smart Points. But the surprise is they may not even notice, and probably won't even notice. Okay, number 9, because we have about 5 minutes left. So surprise number 9, I had always treated my food choices like money. So whatever program we were on, I had treated them like, you know, like money, no matter what the version was of the program. But surprise, Smart Points money is more like real money. The way they have it divided out now, instead of clumping all the weeklies onto, you know, into like a weekly category, the way that they have them, the way they've got them kind of spread out now, I don't know if y'all noticed, but they took your weeklies where you had, you know, less points, you know, per day, but then you had a big whopping number of weeklies there at the end. The way they've spread them out now, they've taken some number of those weeklies and spread them out every day, so that you're eating a little bit of that every day, and then less weeklies. Well, I was very hurt, crushed, mad, whatever you want to call it, aggravated in the beginning, but now I completely understand. It actually makes more sense, and it actually makes the food money more like real money. So because of that, I start thinking about it like I'm dealing out money. So all of these cards that have, you know, the color-coded cards that we did last week, these are all like money for me. They're like Monopoly money. So this one, you know, is 6 Smart Points. So I know, you know, when I see this, that's $6. You know, that's $6 of my $30 that I'm spending that day. And, you know, I mean, you would think about that if you were spending cash money on something. You would think, okay, you know, is that really worth that? You know, do I want to spend, is that a meal that's gonna, you know, that tastes like $8? Well, does it taste like 8 food dollars? You know, 8 Smart Point dollars? So when I was on, you know, well, so when we were on Points Plus, I would hoard my weeklies, and then I would plop them all into one day. So I was not good at spreading it out. So I was nearly starving to death 6 days a week. And then on the 7th day, I would go wild because I would plop all of my weeklies into one day. And a great example of that is like on a Saturday, Casey and I used to have a milkshake fund in the vehicle that I used to have. It had those little, you know, compartments up top, you know, for the remote control and whatever. But Casey and I had an emergency milkshake fund in there, and it was not unheard of on a Saturday to drive through Chick-fil-A and get a small cookies and cream milkshake from Chick-fil-A. That was all well and good. I had plenty of points, you know, on Saturday, because I remember I had not starved myself, but I had deprived myself all the other 6 days, you know, Sunday through Friday. I had deprived myself of any treats those days, so that I could have my milkshake on Saturday. Well, now that it's real points, here's another one y'all are probably going to pass out. So now that money, if I use that, I can either get that milkshake on Saturday, or guess how many of the Chick-fil-A grilled chicken nuggets that I could have for that same number of Smart Points. And I'm not saying I would eat this many. There's no way I would eat this many. You couldn't eat this many. You couldn't eat this many if you tried. But I want to give you all, there's no watch on this hand, so I don't know why I'm looking at it like there's a watch, but I'm going to give you all about 30 seconds. Guess how many food dollars, guess how many nuggets you could eat, for how many grilled Chick-fil-A nuggets you could eat for that small cookies and cream milkshake. Casey's pretty close. Casey's pretty darn close, if anybody can see hers. So, yeah, it's been, why do I keep looking at my wrist? There's nothing there. 108. 108, yeah. So you could eat 108 Chick-fil-A grilled chicken nuggets for the same number of smart points, food dollars, as that small cookies and cream milkshake. Well, guess what? I don't hoard my points anymore unless we're going somewhere really, really special, like if it's a wedding or you know, something big, a big event like that, because I am a sucker for wedding cakes. So I will say, I mean, I like Chick-fil-A milkshakes, but they are not 108 grilled chicken nuggets good. Yeah. I'll save up points. I'll save up points for a good piece of wedding cake. I mean, a good piece of wedding cake. You know, I'll save up points for something like that, but not for a milkshake that I could have gotten anytime, you know, anytime whatsoever. Okay, so that's one expensive beverage. That won't be happening. So anyway, that was a huge surprise, huge surprise. Okay, surprise number 10, and this is a great time to be wrapping up because it is, now look at the hand that does have an actual watch on it. So it is 9 o'clock. So let's do surprise number 10. This is a great time to wrap up because the fact that John is on here means that he is done working for the day and is back in the room, and he gets a really small window of time that, you know, before he has to get ready to go back tomorrow, because I think they're working like, they must be working like 14-hour days right now. But anyway, and I would like to talk to him before he falls asleep. So let's do surprise number 10. Surprise number 10, and I know in this part, y'all are going to think this part of it is the surprise, but it's not. But surprise number 10 is, even though I've been doing this for 20 plus years, so I've been doing some form of Weight Watchers, whether it was, again, Fit and Fiber, what was it? I said it a second ago. Anyway, the fiber one, or points plus, smart points, whatever it is. I've been doing some form of Weight Watchers for over 20 years, about 23 years actually, and I'm a successful, I think, a pretty successful lifetime member now. But surprise number 10 is, there's some days I don't want to do this. There are some mornings that I wake up and I think, I don't wake up after the alarm clock has gone off for the 3rd, 4th, 5th time. I get up and I think, why do I have to get up early and walk? You know, why can't I stay in bed like everybody else does? And then when everybody else at work is in the break room eating delicious homemade cake that Bobby made, or some kind of cheesy goodies, or some takeout something, or Chinese, you know, I kick my foot across the floor. You know, I don't let them see me do it in case you don't you dare tell anybody, but, you know, mentally I'm kicking my foot across the floor and saying everybody else gets something good and I never get to eat anything, oh, and Lynn's asking how much weight I lost. So I've lost right at 50 pounds, Lynn, but I'll, you know, mentally, not letting them see it, but, you know, mentally I'm thinking, you know, I never get to have anything good, and they're all in there eating cake, and I know how hard Bobby worked on that, and I know what it tastes like, and blah 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 blah, you know, and I'm just, you know, and I'm beating myself up the whole way back to my office because, you know, because I never get to eat anything good. They're always, you know, getting to eat good stuff. And there are some days that I break into triple digit smart points. I mean, I'm talking over 100 smart points. And then I think, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? I just ate 100 smart points. Why, you know, why am I even here? But here's the surprise. Surprise! Every day I open up, every day, multiple times a day, I open up the Facebook group, or I look here on the Facebook page, and the surprise is that I see your sweet comments, and I see you all helping each other, and I see that you all are going through the same thing that I'm going through, that I'm not alone, that I'm not the only person who, you know, who's not avoiding the kitchen, you know, because Bobby has a yummy cake sitting in there. And then I go visit my parents, and I see how sick they are, and I see that bad eating habits are part of what, bad eating habits, and in my dad's case, some kind of hard living, are what got them there. And then I remember I have a grandbaby on the way, and I want to be able to play with him or her, run with him or her, and enjoy him or her. You know, I don't want to be sick like my parents are. I don't want to be a burden like they are on Casey and Alan. And I want to be healthy for them. And then, surprise, when I see all that, then I get up early the next morning. I actually enjoy my walk, and I remember that's why I get up, because I enjoy walking. I enjoy going out. I enjoy it so much more when John and Dusty go with me. I enjoy getting up early enough to see the sunrise. And I remember that's why I wanted to walk. It's another quiet time, for me, because once I get to work, I'm not going to have quiet time anymore. Then I come back and I savor my Wego, and those of you who are Wego lovers know exactly, why I'm savoring that. I savor my Wego. Then I watch everybody else be jealous of my Fluffer Nutter Bites, Smart Point friendly, absolutely delicious. And then, last surprise, I'm happier and healthier now at 50 than I ever was in my 30s and 40s. So, Smart Point surprise. I love Smart Points. As much as I thought I didn't like it in the beginning, it's really a surprise. I love Smart Points. My hair's healthier, my skin's healthier, I feel better. I haven't had a Rolaids or Tums in probably 2 years. I just feel better. So, surprise! If you jumped off the Smart Points bandwagon or didn't ever join us, I hope you'll be back. So, and John says, I can't seem to send you the heart thing. Sorry, I've been trying. And that is okay, John, because I know, because you always have my heart. And you have to be on a phone to do it. You can't be on your, you might be able to be on your laptop. But anyway, so I would love to know what your all Smart Point surprises are. Keep sending me your chat ideas. I honestly, I know it seems crazy, but I love doing this every week. And one of the Kims said she sent one for me. And Casey says, ew, sappy parents. Yeah, kind of are. But anyway, I do love you guys. And I thank you all for being an inspiration to me and for sitting and listening to me every week. But anyway, so yeah, it is after 9 o'clock and John is still on here. So I'm going to jump off and say hey to him. But hopefully, maybe, if I can get him back in town, we'll do Sam's Club next week. And if not, we might go ahead and talk about nutritional yeast again, because we had lots of people asking if we could do that one again. It only kind of got half billing last time. Yeah, not even going to broach the pressure cooker topic yet. But anyway, keep sending me your ideas. They've been some really good ones. And if you didn't go ahead and vote on the little things with the chocolate and the fluff and the graham crackers on it, don't forget to go do that. And as usual, thank you guys so much. And good night, Casey and Baby Bo. So thank you guys so much. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.